a charm, right? It's Thursday evening. It's now 8:02 p.m. as we're getting ready to start one conversation at a time with Rick Senninger. If we've not met before, you're free to give me a call. You can do so. I'm always interested in what people have to say and what interests them the most. So, having said all of that, tonight's subject is something that a lot of people share, they have in common. That is that why is it that we may have friends, family members, even ourselves, who stay in bad relationships? And the answer to that is really, really, really simple, but yet very, very complicated for each of us on a one-on-one basis. Just because something's easy doesn't mean it's not hard to do. I remember someone saying to me one time, they said, well, it's just easy to quit cigarette smoking. You just don't buy anymore and you don't smoke. Well, that sounds and they're correct. It's easy to do in one sense. You're right. Simply don't smoke. You're not smoking anymore. But the actual act of stopping something that has been a habit, even though it's not a good one, is something else entirely different. So I was getting ready for this today, and something just popped up literally on my feed. I'm going to read it verbatim because I think it's worth noting here. It says, when it comes to bad relationship, it is not your job, your task to heal toxic people. It is your task to heal yourself from what connects you to them. Because the reality of it is that for so many, myself to some degree included as well, I mean, no one's above having these types of, human experiences that we all do, is that we have to recognize that there is something within ourselves that we continue to do things that are not necessarily good for ourselves. So, an unhealthy relationship is kind of a core issue in the sense that relationships start when we are very, very young. If we go all the way back to our very first, by the way, this is number 7 today of 12. Go back to our very, very first conversation that we had 6 weeks ago. The lesson at that time was about anxiety and learning and understanding how it is that we're at fight or flight and survival mode and so on and so on. So a lot of these things are brought in very, very early. And fight, flight, our relationship to survival is where relationships begin. So, right from the very beginning, you may have been taught that in order to get food, you had to act in a certain way. In order to expect love and affection, you had to act in a certain way. If your criticism, you absorbed it. If there were conflicts, you witnessed it. If you saw people yelling all the time, you associate healthy relationships, or it's normal if people are yelling. The ironic part about this is that whatever your brain becomes accustomed to is what you're going to believe is normal. So if you're in a home where relationships are not nurtured, supported, where there's a lot of chaos around you, calm may actually feel uncomfortable if you're acclimated to chaos as being something that's representative of a good relationship or a relationship whereby you benefited because you survived that. For many people, unconsciously, they recreate what they've always known because the uncertainty is frightening and isn't familiar. They'd rather have what is familiar than what is not familiar. This is one reason that intelligent, capable people oftentimes choose unhealthy partners, not because they are weak, but because what they are geared towards is trying to work with people and help people be better, and therefore they're problem solving and picking unhealthy relationships. Your brain, all of our brains, my brain, your brain, everybody's brain, we all build what's called a normal. And your childhood is the cornerstone. That becomes the cornerstone or the textbook of your relationships and what you call normal. That is becomes familiar to you. The word comfortable becomes normal. Normal eventually even feels right. So follow this for just a moment. If a child is raised around yelling, they may believe that every couple argues like that. If someone was raised without affection, they may believe love isn't supposed to feel easy. Someone consistently criticized you. They may believe if you're correcting me, that means that you care enough. These are all conscious choices. They're learned. They're actually in your subconscious and they're there permanently unless you recognize them and become proactive in changing them. And that's where the other part of the system comes into play. And that's our good friend, the inner critic. The inner critic is that person, entity that comes into you all the time that is like your boss or like your parent. It's like it comes in there and just keeps offering you information whether you want it or not. And it whispers things like you're asking too much or you don't want to make waves because you want to please everybody. You'll find someone else. You'll make adaptations to make this person the right person for you. You'll always ruin relationships. You're lucky anyone even loves you. Those types of things. Those types of messages that we receive, even at a young age, may be validated through adolescence, through our experiences in high school or initial dating or whatever the case is. These messages that we receive stay with us for a very, very long time. So even though intellectually we understand that this is not healthy, we continue to move forward in the same way. And what's even crazier when you think about it is that we keep going back into those same patterns because they feel good. Neuroscience has already stipulated our brain constantly strengthens repeated patterns. Neurons that fire together wire together. We've all heard that. The more frequently we repeat self-defeating beliefs, the more automatic they show up. That's the RAS system, the reticular activation system. You begin reacting, you begin actually choosing things that are not going to be good for you. That's by definition called self-sabotage. Most people think sabotage looks dramatic. It usually actually doesn't. It's actually something very, very subtle within you. It sounds like I'll just give them one more chance. Or they're under a lot of stress. They start making excuses for when someone's acting badly towards us or towards you when you're in a bad situation. It'll get better. Maybe I can fix this. They really do love me. They're just, overreacting right now. They really, so on and so on. These are all situations where sometimes these statements are true, but just as often, if there's a pattern there, it's not true. The same patterns keep showing up repeatedly. They people will consistently not just stay in relationships where it may be a romantic relationship, but they'll even stay in friendship relationships. They'll stay in job positions that they don't enjoy. They ignore medical symptoms. They will overspend. They will abuse alcohol. They keep returning to emotionally unavailable partners. And I mean, assure you of that. Emotionally unavailable people, when you're a people pleaser, you're just going, oh, I could fix them. You start creating a fantasy within your own mind that somehow you're going to be able to adjust all this and make it all better. And of course, you can't. Here's the encouraging news: your past will explain you. So when people come and talk to me about this, I say to them all the time, this explains what you've done up to now, but here's what we can do to make things different. And this is where I speak every week about the PIT method, practicing intelligent, intuitive, and inspirational thinking. And all three have to be present in order to make any real change. First off, it has to make sense. We all know it has to make sense. Well, if you're in a bad relationship or you continually draw bad relationships to you, that is a no-brainer. So why do you keep doing it? Well, that's because intuitively, it feels funny it feels awkward. It doesn't feel right to be in a healthy relationship because that's unfamiliar to you. So we have to work on the way you feel when you're in a good relationship. Inspirationally, the benefit to you if you gain a good relationship. That absolutely exists. You can have a healthy, good relationship and become comfortable and feel good about it. You can have these things happen. What you need to do is to recognize when you immediately are falling into a pattern that will not serve you and stop it. You start having a conversation with somebody and find out they have certain traits and so on that actually don't work very well for you, then you need to immediately start to recognize that and maybe withdraw from that relationship a little bit, not be so eager to try and engage it. Um, am I, the point is, these things happen to all of us at one time or another. We all want to have that relationship and all want to be heroes within our own lives and lives of those around us. And sometimes people are very much worth that time, effort, and energy. But if it's a consistency in someone's life, chances are it's gotten a little bit out of kilter and gone the wrong way. So our objective is that we're going to work with you on acknowledging what it is that you is within your own life, why you're drawn to those things, recognize the patterns, understanding how you got there, and then be able to, with the power of hypnotherapy, be able to help you have the positive thoughts within your mind, the normal thoughts, the things that will make you and have that as part of your subconscious, your belief system, your self-sabotaging, your commenting, your adverse comments and so on will diminish dramatically, and that will happen. The big takeaway I want you to have with tonight is it may not be your fault that you've learned to think or believe or perceive that you're not entitled to a good relationship. But it is your responsibility to honestly examine those patterns and to be able to make changes. You only get to blame your parents and what happened to you in your past up to a certain age. Then after that, you have to consciously continue to support those systems and allow them to take control of your life. It's about giving yourself permission to go ahead and recreate a healthier life for yourself, and we can absolutely do that. So if you ever wonder why do I keep making the same mistakes? Why do I keep heading down dead-end jobs? Why do I date wrong people? Why do I keep letting others treat me like a doormat? What's wrong with me? Maybe it was just something that was instilled in you for a very, very long time. You always got the positive reinforcement by being the perfect child, by being the person who would always help, always make things better. Those types of reinforcements, the people they could always count on, and therefore you assume that your value is in what always you can give to others, never expecting anything worth being given back to you in a meaningful way that would actually make a big difference in your life. That's a very, so I've given you tonight kind of an easy overview as to how to look at this. I do have a couple of questions here. Actually, I was getting questions from people ahead of time before I came here. So, can people really change lifelong relationship patterns? The answer is absolutely. And there's a lot of tools that I have in my tool chest, but one of them is by using hypnotherapy, and actually getting you to understand and reframe in your own mind, in your own words, reframe what a healthy relationship looks like, and then reinforce that in your subconscious. And that will actually, you will innately start to make behavioral changes. It won't be because you had to think about it. You won't do it cognitively. We've already, talked about that before, to actually have to think about something that's strictly intellectual. It's not inspired and it's not intuitive. It doesn't feel right. We want it to feel right for you. How do I know whether I'm in a difficult relationship or it's just an unhealthy one? A difficult relationship, difficulty is for a time period. Unhealthy is perpetual. Okay. If it has always been like this, if someone has always criticized you, if someone has always put you down, if someone only is validated by making themselves look good, and therefore that means you have to look bad, that is if it has been like that as a consistent pattern and a way they've done things, that is unhealthy. A difficult relationship, a difficult time, that's those are temporary. Okay, that's temporary. Someone's, not themselves because they've lost their job. Maybe they've had a loss or a death in the family. Maybe someone's gotten a bad diagnosis. Those types of things, yeah, that is a different story. Why do smart, successful people stay in bad relationships? That one is actually really, really easy, and it's really sad. They stay in healthy relationships because they figure that they're smart, they're capable, they're able to change things, they're able to make things better because they are smarter and they are more capable. Now, if you have a specific question you want to ask me about your relationship, let me assure you can do so. It's very, very free to do that. You simply go to tiphypnosis.com. Tiphypnosis.com. The phone number there. The phone number is 407-490-5022. You can call me. I'll spend 20, 30 minutes just having a conversation with you. If I can point you in the right direction, I will. If I can be of help to you, we'll continue to meet after that. If you need a reference, I can help you with that. Or maybe you just need a clarification. Is this a healthy or unhealthy relationship? And after we talk for 20 or 30 minutes, I may be able to give you some insight on that. But whatever it is, I've been doing this for over 30 years. So be assured, if I can't help you, I know someone who can. In the meantime, I want you folks to continue to have the very, very best in whatever life is bringing to you. And I will look forward to seeing you again next week as we do each and every week here on our on this broadcast. I really actually enjoy doing them. I look forward to them every single week. And I hope that whatever's going on in your life, that you make it as good for you as you possibly can. In the meantime, stay brilliant, and we'll see you next Thursday.